jeopardy as to whether or not there will be a Game 6 back here. And, of course, now the Warriors are in a must-win game.
I will agree with you now, Tim. I will agree with you.
Thank you. Okay, finally. To me, this was a must-win tonight, so you go get into the must-win situation. But just really two missed opportunities, missed open looks, and some silly plays coming down the stretch. Their shot selection late in the game was not good, and the Lakers win the ball game. Final score, LA 104, Golden State 101.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. That's what I got this morning. Tim Roy, Tom Toberman on the final call. Again, here's this play right here. Our boss just came in, Matt Nahigan, program director, in this shirt, right? I can't get this shot out of my head right now.
Curry gets changed. Ball to Thompson. Thompson forced up a three. No good. Not a good shot. Rebound Schroeder. And Steve Kerr can't believe it.
Yeah, that was quick. I can't get the shot out of my head. I can't get the fact that the Warriors were up 12 at 2 different points in the third quarter. They gave all the momentum back to the LA Lakers. Couple quick turnovers. Schroeder gets the layup. You go up 7 going into the fourth quarter, which should have been up double digits. And boom, in 75 seconds, the Lakers score 9 straight to take the lead and take control of the game. And Lonnie Walker happens. All 9 of the field goal attempts came in the fourth quarter. Scored 15 points in the fourth quarter. The Warriors ended up scoring 17. So the Warriors 17, Lonnie Walker 15. You get another 12 from AD, LeBron, and the company. I mean, just a devastating loss. An absolute gut punch as the Warriors are down 3-1. Seems it could be over Wednesday night.
Yep.
Could be over Wednesday night. And we could be talking about the last game for the core group, possibly. Oh my gosh, I'm sick. Alan Styles in for Joe Saxton doing a hell of a job. He's going to be with me today and tomorrow as we break down game number 4, preview game number 5. Good to have Alan Styles here. He's a good one. We got Spadoni in the building. We got Lubman. Good morning to everybody out there getting off the graveyard shift. Good morning to everybody out there at work. If you're at work, good morning to you. YouTube, Comcast Business Text Line, all the strippers, baby daddies, baby mamas, you know the drill. Good morning to everybody out there. I'm not having a great morning. I'm really not. I'm sick. Maybe I'm too emotional. Maybe Anthony Slater can talk me off the ledge. I don't know. Our 95.7 Game Insider does a great job for The Athletic. I love Anthony Slater's work. He breaks the game down. And, Anthony, let's just start with your tweet from last night. You displayed the bad shot selection, the quick threes, or the bad three-pointers taken by Clay and Steph. Now, we've seen them hit those shots in the past, but, boy, it felt a little rush. And the Warriors broke down the stretch there against the LA Lakers to lose that game 104-101. What did you think of the shot selection?
I mean, it was bad, but also just kind of who they've been, not only obviously in their history, and that was their explanation post-game, like, look, this is who these guys have been, but they've been bad down the stretch this season. I mean, we've talked about it plenty, but, we can go through all the regular season losses: Charlotte, Utah, Minnesota. But how about
Miami?
Yeah, Miami's a good one. But how about 2 weeks ago? They're down 2-1 in a very similar spot to Sacramento, and really gave game 4 away to the Kings. Harrison Barnes hits that 3. We were talking about this same scenario a couple weeks ago. They had a timeout situation and that entire breakdown in the final 5 minutes. But this is kind of who they've been this year. They've been a bad fourth quarter team, particularly a bad late fourth quarter team on the road. It just finally bit them yesterday with shot selection. I think to give them a little bit of an excuse, I do think their fatigue set in with some of those shots, particularly the Steph one. It looked like when he got it back from Davis, it was like, did he have the effort to go try to beat Anthony Davis?
Right.
It just looked like he's like, just dialing up the step back 3. And part of that is the minutes low that they're forced to play in some ways because of the lack of depth right now. And also, you went 7 against the Kings. This is the 6th or 7th straight game. They've only had 1 day off.
Right.
And they're old, they're older players. Like, I just think it's all catching up to them. This season is catching up to them.
No doubt about that. And Jordan Poole, it looks like the season's finally caught up to him. Last night he was unplayable. 10 minutes and 24 seconds, and it may have been 5 minutes too many. I actually felt bad for him yesterday. I felt bad for him during the series. He scored nothing yesterday. Scored 5 points in the last 2 games combined. And I want to know if you were in that locker room, and if so, how tense was that locker room last night when it came to Jordan Poole when he spoke to reporters?
I wasn't in that particular scrum.
Gotcha.
But, it's been tense around Jordan Poole for all season, really. I mean, you go back to obviously what happened in the preseason, but, his slumps really most of the year. He's always been a little bit terse with the media, quick. I mean, he has this whole thing where he comes in and 90 seconds. He doesn't love giving expansive answers, and to be honest, doesn't really like talking too much about his struggles. Has not discussed the incident from preseason. He's not that detailed. It sounds to me from and I know Kareth went on NBC and kind of detailed it. I mean, obviously he made the hint at lack of opportunity, and he said that a few times really all season. He's hinted like, he wants to start, he wants to play more, he wants more shots, more opportunity. I think, it's funny, I referenced this coming into the season, but this reminds me a little bit of the Reggie Jackson year that I covered in Oklahoma City, way back in the day now. But Reggie Jackson had a very good third season, was entering an extension year. He was great in the playoffs, and then he wanted to start more. He wrote like SPJ on his sneakers, which meant starting point guard, even though Russell Westbrook was on the team. He did a lot of very passive-aggressive stuff that year. He forced his way out. He didn't sign the extension. He ended up getting traded for Enes Kanter. That's not what happened with Jordan Poole, but just young guy on a team filled with veterans who is growing into what he believes was a bigger role, and it just wasn't available for him this season with the Warriors. And I think in some ways that's created somewhat of a tense environment.
Anthony, let's talk a little X's and O's here with the P&R, the pick and roll, and everybody last night was asking, why did they go away from it? They ran it, the Warriors ran it so much in the first half, didn't really run it that much in the second half. I got some thoughts as to why, but I'm curious, is there anything that you saw as to why the Warriors went away from it, or did it just organically happen and nobody put their foot down and said, hey, let's get back to this?
Yeah, I think you still saw them go to it at times and really their best possessions down the stretch. I mean, the one layup Steph had was calling Davis's guy up, high screen, and Steph got to the rim. But I think they're just, a lot of their natural tendencies are to play their flowing style. Some of the worst possessions late, like I'm not sure they wouldn't have done a pick and roll, but Steph throws the ball over to the wing, and Klay just catches and shoots because Klay wanted to get a shot off. They can spam it more. I think the problem is, it isn't even just some of the player tendencies. Draymond's is to play, dribble handoff game and slip cuts, but it's also obviously Steve Kerr's tendency. He doesn't just want to James Harden it up and like literally run it every single possession, but it probably should. I mean, it was clearly concerted, part of their game plan. They started Gary Payton II in part because he was he's a pretty good screen setter and short roll type of player, much more than JaMychal Green. And yeah, well, I don't know what the final number ended up being, but let's say that they put Anthony Davis in 30 high screens. They probably should have put him in like 55.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it looked like as well. I want to talk about just game one was a big one, and obviously last night. And to me, it felt like the Lakers are taking these punches. So when you look at the Warriors and, Steph saying all the right things as he always does, is there what belief do you think that the Warriors have? Because they lost the game where Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry all scored more than 20, and then they do this P&R, right? And Steph kind of winked after, during the media availability the day before the game, thinking, okay, we got him. They've had these situations, and even looking at the P&R, they did spam it in the first half last night, and they were up 3 at halftime. So what is the real belief? The Warriors, they continue, and LeBron talked about it, to throw these haymakers, and whether it's Lonnie Walker, Austin Reeves, whether it's D'Lo, whoever it is, the Lakers just find a way to hang around.
Yeah, I mean, again, look at the score last night. I mean, that's a Lakers style of game, right? 104-101. That's where the Lakers want these games. I mean, it's always better if, it's always more realistic if you're down 3-1 for you to come back if you have 2 of the games at home, and obviously there is a script for this for the Warriors. They were down 3-1 to the Thunder back in 16 in this exact scenario, coming home for game 5. You're going to be the favorite in game 5. Warriors will be the favorite. And I wouldn't even be too shocked if the Lakers in some ways punted game 5. I mean, they did it in Memphis in the first round. They were up 3-1 going to Memphis. They got blown out in Memphis. Game 6 will be the big challenge. If the Warriors have to get game 5, but if they do, 6 will be where you'll face like the most powerful Lakers, closeout punch. They did in that Thunder series I referenced back in the day. Everybody remembers that Game 6 in Oklahoma City. They only won it because Klay Thompson probably had maybe Klay Thompson's best game ever. 11 threes, insane down the stretch. That was a 73-win young Thunder team with that version of Klay Thompson.
Yep.
You may need that type. You may need a Steph Game 4 in Boston type performance in a Game 6 in LA. They have put themselves back against the wall where they need a legendary performance, basically, to stave. Maybe save the dynasty. If we want to get real, romantic with it or whatever. But,
Poetic.
Yeah, there you go. So they are just heavy underdogs. But if you just look at it like win a Game 5, you're favored in. Win a Game 7, you'd probably be favored in. It's really the Game 6 that is big, red alert game.
No doubt. Anthony Slater here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. He's our 95.7 The Game insider. Does a great job for the Athletic Anthony. Klay Thompson, 3 of 11. Looks like the Lakers are face guarding him. They did a great job on him. I thought GP2 played well in his minutes. Andrew Wiggins, look, he's been solid. Hasn't had the three-point shot working here. But what else can they get? Because what other adjustments does Steve Kerr have up his sleeve here? Can he make it another adjustment, or should he just roll out the same starting 5 like he did last night?
I think the starting 5 worked. I think Peyton played pretty well. I think the pick and roll choice with Davis is smart. I think they should do that plenty. And if Davis is guarding Peyton, Peyton's the screener. If he's guarding Wiggins, Wiggins is the screener. I think you need a better Klay. Obviously, what he finished with 9 points.
11 shots, 9 points.
You mentioned Wiggins. I think I'm impressed with how good he's been in the playoffs overall, considering the type of season he's had.
Mm-hmm.
But still, he was not good last night. You remember early the 2 turnovers, 2 fouls, got him off to a bad start. Fourth quarter, he only takes 2 shots, 2 wing threes. Steph's out there begging for any type of offensive help. Right, Poole's unplayable. Klay's not hitting his shots. Draymond's obviously not going to score. Moses Moody's out there just trying to be a glue guy. He's not looking for a shot. That's where Andrew Wiggins' last playoffs is scoring 22 and, hitting, getting to his mid-range pull-up at times. He has an excuse. He missed the final 2 months. There's probably a reason his shot is not where he'd like it to be, but all he did in the fourth quarter last night was take 2 wide-open spot-up catch-and-shoot threes. He missed both. He is not the two-way type Wiggins player that they need to win a title right now.
Anthony, that's a great point because I brought it up to D. Wright and Mullen yesterday, and Darrell Wright was saying Wiggins needs to be in that 18 to 20 field goal attempt range, not the 12 to 14. And you mentioned only 2 shots, 2 points in the fourth quarter. I thought he needed to be aggressive. All right, so Jordan Poole looks unplayable. JaMychal Green only sees 2 minutes and 16 seconds. What about Jonathan Kuminga? Or did Jonathan Kuminga seal his fate with that article in the Chronicle last week? Is Jonathan Kuminga just so far in the doghouse that it's not even a question whether or not he will play? Because you could use some minutes for somebody, Anthony. You could use some fresh legs. I don't know if you want to throw a 20-year-old in the series in an elimination game, but is he done for the series? Is he done for this playoff run?
It would. The trend is that direction because I feel like we've gone into every game thinking hey, maybe try him out in this game, or even patches of the game where it feels like they're struggling. Think about Game 2, right? You're down 11.5. Hey, maybe make him part of the second half, early rotation plans. But they've decided, I think, in a lot of ways, this matchup isn't for him because of how shameless the Lakers sag off shooters. And they did it to him in the regular season, and Kuminga, it just kind of jammed up their offense, and Kuminga just started shooting threes, which they don't love, apparently, even though he hits a decent amount of them, actually. I think he's about 35%. I'm not ruling it out. Maybe you do see him, maybe as they concoct a game plan, and maybe Poole is a lesson part of it, and JaMychal Green is probably out of it. Maybe they try him in the first half, give him a stint on LeBron, give Wiggins a longer rest. I think that would be an intriguing option, but as you mentioned, it's the situation. You see Kuminga over there on the bench, doesn't look too thrilled about the entire situation. So, is that the guy you want to go to with season on the line? Essentially, I don't know, but it's not a great situation.
Anthony, just real quick, I wanted to get your thoughts on Steve Kerr finally opening the door last night about the flopping. And I mean, Lonnie Walker on that moving screen with Draymond almost rolled into the stands. Were you surprised that Steve Kerr finally said something right after, 2 days ago where he said there's no point talking about the refs? Because as fans, we wanted him to do it after game one. Were you surprised that he finally went there?
Yeah, this would, typically, at least Steve Kerr is more willing to do it when it's such a close margin game. My sense the other day was when you get blown out by 30, and then you start whining about a few calls, it's like, dude, you lost regardless. And that was kind of Kerr's point in between games. It's like, well, why complain about the rest? They were the Warriors were the reason the Warriors lost game 3. If a few calls go differently in the fourth quarter of a 104-101 game, then yeah, sure, that game, the result might have been different. But it's gamesmanship on the Lakers' part to, this is somewhat their style of play, but it's also gamesmanship from Kerr to try to maybe get a few calls in game 5, game 6. We'll see. I mean, I don't know if it'll work, but it's something I'm sure they won't watch. I'm sure they'll send video into the league. That's what a lot of teams do during playoff series. It's hey, look, they're diving on this type of screen. Anthony Davis is sagging too much in the lane. Do you want to call it 3 seconds at some point? And maybe you'll see more of an emphasis from whoever the officiating crew is in Game 5. Maybe you don't see an illegal screen in the first quarter that looked like it might have been. Maybe Davis gets called for 3 seconds. So that's probably why Kerr did it, but generally it's not going to change too much.
No doubt. How do you see this series playing out? It's not the Warriors can come back from a 3-1 deficit. I'm having a hard time seeing it, Anthony, with the way the season has played out and with everything that's going on. The Lakers look like the more connected team. One team, they all know their roles. They're going for one goal. We've got a lot of things going on with the Warriors in that locker room here. How does this play out over the next 3 games? Or will we get another 3 games?
Yeah, I don't think so. Look, the simple way to predict this type of series, which we've seen play out numerous times in history, is Warriors win Game 5, Lakers win Game 6. That would to me, that would be the obvious way to guess how this is going to go.
Right.
But, look, once Game 6 tips off, everyone's going to be watching in a dramatic way. I mean, it's not impossible to believe the Warriors can win a game like last night. But like you said, I mean, what about the way they performed this season, particularly in the fourth quarter of key moments of the season, should make you believe that they're going to be capable of doing it. Maybe it's their history, but at some point that might run out.
All right, Anthony. Good stuff as always, man. We love your work at The Athletic, of course, and we'll see you Wednesday at Chase Center where the Warriors are facing elimination. They have to win 3 straight games to get to the Western Conference Finals. All right, Anthony. Good stuff, man, as always. Get some rest.
All right, fellas.
All right, Anthony Slater here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. The shot selection. JP not playing. Kuminga being in the doghouse. This is just